Alam mo ba ang ipinagdarasal mo tuwing sinasabi mong, "Iadya mo kami sa dilang masasama." Inaanyayahan namin kayo dito sa Sidetrack.
Sidetrack, we're getting sidetracked. Yes, we're getting sidetracked.
What were we talking about?
Yung podcast.
Wait, are we recording already?
Yeah, we were just about to start.
Should we start that again?
Again?
Nah, it's fine. Side?
Yeah.
Where?
Welcome back, or welcome if you're new.
I'm Bree.
I'm LILA.
I'm Kay, and it's part 2 of our themed watching. And for my suggestion, we watched Clarita. It's a horror film based in 1940s. Basically, it's an exorcism film. We all know how that goes. It's an exorcism film.
Before we move on, if you haven't watched the first part, I suggest you watch it first. It's not really connected, pero in case you don't know what the theme is, it was explained in the first review of this particular theme, which was How the House of Us. The theme is country specific, and we chose Philippines, so now we're watching Filipino. But
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
that's the theme.
Wait, tignan ko yung notes. They moved the capital of the Philippines? Question mark. What? Why did I write that? Anyways, so
Tinapian ka na rin yata. Hindi mo maalala kung anong ginagawa mo.
the main reason why I suggested this film for Philippines, kahit na marami akong gustong ipanood na Filipino film, is because I watched like 70% of the film, 80% of the film passing.
And it's not even the beginning.
It's not
It's not even the beginning.
And I was like, oh, this is a really good horror film for a Filipino movie. Because
Yeah.
we all know how Filipino films are, especially with horror movies, very cringy. And this is
Yeah.
like the first film that I'm like, oh, this is actually really good. That's why I suggested it. So, my first point is it's an interesting take with how religious we are as a country and how we dismiss mental health as some work of the devil. So, yung notes ko, it's purely based on like religious and mental health.
Mental health.
Yeah. So, Clarita was clearly showing signs of like delusions and schizophrenia. Also, she has catatonia. Diagnose ko na siya.
Yeah.
I'm not licensed, guys.
But she's clearly catatonic.
Yeah.
So, which brings me to my question. Do you guys think that exorcism just feeds to the delusion of Clarita?
I mean, if we're gonna remove like the supernatural of it, yeah, possibly. I think it's just aggravating it, considering that if it was schizophrenia, right? Clarita would already have delusions that she's being possessed, someone is taking control of her mind, di ba? It's a type of delusion, right? Like yung,
Yeah.
ano tawag doon? Basta may term yun, wherein you feel like someone's controlling your thoughts or someone's like reading your thoughts or something. Like you're not in control of your body, parang ganon. And then when you reinforce that with a priest trying to do an exorcism, then that's just gonna solidify the delusion that, yeah, I am possessed. Parang ganon. So yeah, if we're gonna remove the like assuming that you know like supernatural stuff, they're not real, then yeah, it is feeding into the delusion. So it's not really like a good treatment for her.
Bring how about you?
Same lang din yung thoughts ko. Kanina pa ako nag-iisip ng idadagdag ko doon. Sabi ko, parang nasabi naman na ata lahat ni Lila. Kaya tumahimik na lang ako eh. Kaya gumagala ako sa gilid, parang,
Nods,
Tama.
nods. It's
Tama,
called
tama.
persecutory delusion.
Yeah, persecutory.
Anyways,
honestly though, it's always been the question, right? Is it mental illness or is it the devil?
is it
It's all-
supernatural?
It's always that question. And honestly, I don't think any of us could really answer it like 100% because it really depends on what you believe in. If you believe in science, then you're definitely going to say it's a mental illness. If you believe in like the religious aspect of it, you're definitely going to say, oh, it's the work of the devil. We can't 100% say what it is because it's in the mind. We can't really like delve into someone's mind and say, "Oh, this is what 100% is happening." So
Yeah, that's why the way I phrased my answer was, if we're gonna remove like the religious aspect or the
yeah,
supernatural aspect
Mhm.
of it, then yeah, it's feeding into it. Like if it is, and yeah, I agree that it depends on what you believe in. Because if you remember, right, if you guys don't know, we have bachelor's degree in psychology, so we did take up psychology. We're just not licensed psychologists.
I'm a
Um,
licensed psychometrician.
I'm renewing my license.
I haven't. I'm still in the process of renewing my license because I don't know how to do it in Canada. I don't know how to do it in Canada. But I was like a licensed psychometrician. Diniscuss natin to, I think, sa board's review yata to eh. I think it was Sir Renz Argao. So Sir Renz Argao was one of our lecturers, or at least for me. Kasi iba tayo ng block.
Nung nagla-lectures na tayo, nandun na tayo sa big room. Ano yun?
Sa
Big hall?
auditorium.
Auditorium.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah, yeah.
room.
Sir Renz yun. I think it was
Big
Sir Renz.
room.
Big room with red
Yeah,
chairs.
with red leather chairs. Yeah, I think it was Sir Ergao. If not, it's probably someone else. But yeah, Sir Ren Sargao was one of our lecturers. He's also the host of Walwal Sesh. Wala lang, hindi kami connected sa kanya. May may academic history lang kami sa kanya. I think it was him na sinabi niya na you can't really dismiss someone's belief, the spiritual stuff, when it's part of their culture. Think it was him. If it's not him, it's like the other tall lecturer. There's like another one, like a tall guy.
I don't
Basically,
remember
social
any
psychology.
of lectures anymore.
Yeah, but it's one of our lecturers.
Yung crush ko
Uh,
lang yung naaalala ko,
Sino
Lila.
crush mo? Crush
Yung
mo?
girl, see, I even
Yeah,
forgot her name. May picture ako with
yung,
her.
yung ano, yun ba yung anak ng politician sa Baguio? Yun ba yun?
I don't know who you guys are
Meron
talking
yun.
about because I attended a few sessions. I'm like, I'm a dip. I don't need this.
Basta siya, my girlfriend siya. Sabi ko, I saw my girlfriend. Anyway, go.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. Yun yung ano nga,
May
yun yung
picture
anak
kami.
ng, yeah. And I think yun yung ano, anak nga nung political figures
Huh?
from Baguio, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think that's
Yeah.
her. I don't think it's her.
Naalala ko sikat siya eh. I don't know, basta yun yung
Anyways,
yeah,
yung lecturer.
anyway. Yeah, yeah. So yung sabi ng lecturer, parang they shared an instance before na parang nagkaroon ng calamity somewhere. I forgot which province it was, but they believed in, was it Maria Makini?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Maria
It
said,
was Maria.
pinento mo to sa amin nung nanonood tayo movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basta nagkaroon ng calamity nun before. Parang it was some kind of typhoon. Tapos, nung ano sila ng psychological first aid, the residents from that province explained na they saw a gigantic woman during the storm, like trying to help them or something. And it's not just one person, it's a lot of people in their village who saw that same gigantic woman. And so we were asked, like dun sa review, we were asked, so do you think they had mass hysteria? Na it's like a hallucination. Parang ganun. Like, it's a group hallucination. Because they were in a traumatic situation. It was a calamity, right? And we were like, yeah. Because gigantic women, like yung ganong level, as in super duper huge, they're not, I think, at least not anymore. Probably in the past. Probably. But now, it's not a thing. And then sabi ng lecturer, yeah, that's a good answer, but you can't also dismiss the fact that it might be real. That they actually saw, like legitimately, not in a mental illness way. Like, they legitimately saw the woman kasi that village is a village that believes in this deity.
DT.
So the deity they saw was Maria Makili. And yeah, so like that's like their province, that's the goddess that they believe in. And so there's a high possibility that they genuinely saw their deity kasi that is part of their spiritual culture. So what's normal to some people is not gonna be normal for other people. And I think that's testament with like family practices, marriage practices, religious practices, right? And so you can't really dismiss it as a definite mental illness when you haven't explored their culture. That's why in psychology it's important to learn like culture sensitive psychology. Okay, that was like heavily discussed with us even during our 4-year study. Na
Mm.
culture sensitive psychology is important kasi you need to be aware of someone's culture. Kasi you can't just say na you're mentally ill when that's just
Mm.
part of it. So yeah.
What I really like about this film is that it not only explored Clarita's background, it also gave backgrounds to the other characters and
Mm.
why they're doing the things they do. Katulad nung isa sa pare na his mother also experienced being possessed
Yeah.
and he saw the death of his mother. The journalist, she saw her sister being assaulted.
Mm.
Not much on the older priest, but the older priest was more like being arrogant about his experiences.
He has like superiority complex and
Yeah.
because he's older, he's better.
Mm-hmm.
And he explained na nag-stuck sa kanya yung first death nung ano niya,
Yeah.
Ah,
in-exercise niya.
So yeah, I wish we could have gotten a background for the warden. He was working
mm,
hard. Man deserves
yeah,
spotlight.
Warden's just there, man. Like,
He's very
yeah, he's
supportive.
doing his best.
should have they should have paid him more.
Yeah,
Honestly, he was there for the prisoners, but he suddenly he's like doing exorcism as well.
yeah, yeah. Like yeah, tama si Kane. We could have explored more about him because he's like very invested in like helping Carita, but also he was like kind of arrogant at the beginning, right? And then eventually, like we just saw him like trying to help, so we didn't really know much about his character. We just know he was an asshole in the beginning, and then in the end, he was helping. That's it.
It's just there.
Was he an asshole?
Yeah. Yeah, siya yung ano, parang siya yung nagsasabi na may topak lang sa utak, yung ganun. Siya yung mayor. Siya ba yun? Siya yun, di
Hindi,
ba?
hindi.
No,
Iba yung
Oh, no, it's
mayor.
not.
Si
Ah,
Romnick,
no.
Romnick Sarmiento, di ba? Yung actor. Yung
oo,
warden.
oo, oo.
Yung
Yeah,
mayor
yeah, yeah.
si Buen
Sorry.
Camino, yung mayor.
Si Juan Camino, oo, oo, oo. Tama, tama. Sorry na. I'm misremembering.
The warden's
Mans
just
was,
there
yeah.
basically. He's
Yeah,
just
he was just
vibing.
there.
Best
Oh
boy
yeah, siya yung
warden.
nag-ano. Yan, naalala ko na, yung unang
I
pumapasok
think
si Clarita
pinominate
sa
natin
Yeah.
prison.
siya.
Yeah.
Yeah. Siya yung ano, di ba, yung po unang pasok ni Clarita sa prison and then she was like being mocked or something. And then parang, hindi naman sa pinoprotektahan siya, pero he kind of defended Clarita. Like, tumigil na kayo. Wag, like, don't say anything, ganyan. To, like, the other prisoners. So yeah. Yeah, I
Honestly
remember now. He
though,
wasn't an asshole.
if I was a warden and everybody's dying in the
I'm gonna
fucking
resign.
yeah,
Same.
I was like,
My
bye,
fault.
I'm
bitches.
resigning.
I am not taking
Bye,
my
bitch.
chances.
I wasn't here. I did not
You don't
exist.
know me. You didn't see me.
Um, Out of everyone, every character, my favorite character development would have to be the older priest.
Yeah.
Mm,
Like you can see yung slow progression niya into like being more angry and
yeah.
like well the actor is a veteran actor so
There.
it's a
Yeah.
really good portrayal. And then yung slowly nakikita niya na yung manifestation ng demon and
Mm.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I love the scene where he was praying and like asking, "Give me strength, because I know it's not me." Yeah.
And what I really like about the older priest's character is that it really shows that even these holy authorities are fallible humans. Kasi di ba like, I mean, I don't really know every single priest in the whole world, right? But like the loudest ones, like the ones that we hear, they really feel like they're God. AKA yung mga nasa Senado ngayon. So, yung mga paro
Political.
yan.
May senado
Anyway.
tayo?
We have a government? What are you talking about?
Ops,
Oh,
political.
oh, oh,
Ops,
cut na,
ops.
cut. But yeah, like, kasi diba, like, ang daming priests na the way they act, if they're infallible, they're faultless. Na because they believe in a God, immediately they can't make mistakes, right? Like you don't really hear them most of the time admit that they're making mistakes. Like in fact, most of the time they think the world owes them. Parang ganun, right? So like I really appreciate how humble this priest is. Na he admits, like, yeah, he was arrogant at first, but then like later on he admits that I'm not the one with the power, it's you. I'm just a vessel translating that power. Tapos he admitted na he was wrong with being arrogant. He rectified his mistakes na dun sa pakikipag-away niya dun sa younger priest. Kasi di ba inaway niya yung younger priest? Did he apologize verbally? Or was it just by action? I don't remember. But like it was clear na he was sorry
Mm-hmm.
for fighting with the younger priest. So he admitted his mistake. He admitted na just because he's a priest, it doesn't mean na he's faultless. Na he can't make mistakes. Na he's immediately forgiven. So yeah, that's what I appreciate with this character.
Even the younger priest was like, you can tell that he genuinely wants to help, even though he's
Yeah.
questioning everything.
Yes.
Like, is
Oh
this
yeah.
real?
That's
I
yeah.
don't think it's
That's another
real.
thing. That's another thing. That's what I appreciate with the younger priest. Nah. Sorry, I'm like trying to take over you. Sorry.
Go lang.
But parang he's that priest na he's not afraid to question.
Mm-hmm.
He's not this religious person or religious character na I'm just gonna accept what people feed me. Like he's not scared to question things. He's not scared to question his belief. And I think that's a really, really good thing. I remember we have a prof. Naalala ko nung
Why do
nasa
I
lab tayo
already
nun.
know who you're gonna talk about?
I don't remember how we got to this discussion, pero naalala ko nun habang naggagawa tayo sa lab, nabanggit niya na if you're gonna believe every single thing in the Bible without questioning it, then you're not human kasi you're not thinking.
Mm,
Parang you should question even the Bible. Kasi that shows na that you're exercising your free will.
mhm,
And like you're exercising na you have a brain that you can use it. Alam mo yun? Like you're not just mindlessly following every single word in the Bible. And I appreciated that. For all I know, he's also religious, but I really appreciate like what he said. Like, I say it's true, right? Because if you're just gonna follow someone's instructions, like let's say it's not the Bible, let's say it's your boss in a company, and then your boss tells you do this, do this, do this, do this, do that, ganyan, ganyan. Kahit na it doesn't make sense to you,
mhm,
but because they're the authority in your life, you're just gonna follow it. Then you're not human. You're a fucking robot. So I like that character. Nah, he like even though he's a priest and like he's an exorcist in training, he's not afraid to question what he's presented.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the end, right?
even
Even
in
like
the
the
end.
older priest, yeah, even the older priest as well. Like he started like asking questions as well. So like hindi siya yung nag-develop siya into this. Yeah, I'm just gonna accept everything. Like they still maintain their critical thinking,
Mhm.
which I really really like.
Travel trailer.
Hello and welcome to Travel Trailer. So, in this dream, I'm apparently an idol, but the training system in this dream is very bizarre. For some reason, I was loved by everybody except for the other idols and trainees. And speaking of the training system, besides getting the usual vocal training, dance lessons, and stuff, the trainees need to have a job. And it's very odd. There's like really odd jobs. For some reason, then, I'm the only one that doesn't have a job. And I was the only one that's properly trained to be an idol. And I had this friend in the dream that hated me, but I didn't know because apparently the quote unquote mother, I don't know what that means, but we call this person mother, promised her that she and I will have the same job. But I didn't go to the job, so she kind of had an inkling na I'm not working like the other trainees. And then she got into an accident, that friend. And when she came back, the mother was like, you should find yourself a coffin. But she survived. She's recovered. And everybody that was training us told her, why didn't you bring a coffin? Like basically telling her, you should have died. Anyways, I also have a little brother in this dream, and he's an exorcist. A priest and exorcist. I don't know. This is a dream. He went away for a while and then he came back. And by that time, there was a festival that was going to happen. I remember the date, it was October 3. And in this festival, there's going to be performances. And at the end, there will be a sacrifice. So, human sacrifice. And I knew from the beginning that I was the one that was going to be sacrificed because I was the only one being cared for. And memories came back to me that my older sibling was also sacrificed. But I wasn't there. Yung younger brother daw namin yung nandun. And he has trauma from it. Anyways, day of the festival, my younger brother complimented me. I look pretty daw. Thank you. And then mother suddenly came and then he told my younger brother, "How about you die in her place?"
The fuck?
And then my younger brother was like, "What?" And then I said, "No. You said I if I die this year, there's the sacrifices would end." And then I woke up.
Tangin lang yan.
That's the dream. It was so bizarre.
What the fuck?
But I felt really sad. It's like they just wanted to perform. These idols just wanted to
Is your
perform.
dream creating a social commentary?
It probably is. Allegedly. Don't
Allegedly.
sue us. Allegedly.
It was a dream.
That was
Guys, it was a dream.
yeah.
Okay? It was a dream.
Yeah.
Kay was sleeping.
Anyways, that was travel trailer.
Travel trailer.
Meron lang ako ditong bullet point. Jodie Santa Maria, top tier actress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She really carried the whole film. And one of the
Yeah.
main reason why I recommended this film, kasi out of all of Jodie Santa Maria's filmography, I don't really get to see this side of her.
Yeah.
More recently kasi she's been in rom-coms and
Yes.
stuff.
Di ba siya yung
lighter.
nandun sa yung anong show yun, yung yaya siya, tapos kalawin niya yung boss niya. Di ba
Oh
siya
my
yun?
God. Alam
Kaya
niyo,
diba?
gustong gusto niyo ng lola ko. Legit. Legit. Nirewatch niya yun ng ilang beses.
So I was really surprised to see how well she portrayed Clarita.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she's like a good actress.
Yeah, it must have been physically exhausting for her, especially since she has
Even
to contort her
emotionally.
body. Yeah.
Mm.
Even emotionally, kasi that's like very emotionally taxing, like acting angry and then crying and
Yeah.
then switching into angry again. Yung
Switching
rapid
through
switching
your
ng
voices
emotions
and
niya.
stuff.
Yeah, yung boses niya rin. Though I wouldn't be surprised if it was like altered, yung boses niya.
Mhm.
But still, she still has to make like some kind of like distortion to her voice before it's edited.
Yeah.
So,
And the cinematography. I wanted to talk
Mhm.
about that as well. In most Filipino...
yeah, Brie barely saw it kasi she had
No,
had her
I
eyes
have a
closed.
point
Joke lang.
in the cinematography
Okay.
point.
Okay.
Pero continue niyo muna. I was waiting for a time to say something.
Ayan, with regards to the cinematography, with a lot of Filipino films, especially horror films, they tend to be cheesy, to say the
Yeah.
least. It's very cheesy. Like,
How so?
have you watched a lot of Filipino horror movies?
I've seen The Road. I've seen a few Shake, Rattle, and Roll. I've seen yung mga Chanak horror movies, yung mga ganun.
They try their hardest to do a jump scare, but like the jump scare
doesn't
isn't working. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know it's coming. That's-
And then the characters would scream, but you're like,
Yeah.
what's happening?
Yung
What-
Chris Aquino scream.
like,
Chris Aquino
okay.
is good with horror movies. It's just that
Yeah.
sometimes take care of your throat, ma'am.
She's good with horror movies. Is that the horror movies that she's in or shit. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Yes.
the plot and execution tends to be very. It's almost like,
It's always the same.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
always the same. Yeah, it's okay to have a good ending, like happy ending for everybody. Pero
Yeah.
yung bigla na lang may something na hindi connected. Coco Crunch, in
Mm.
your words. May Coco Crunch
Yes.
sa mga films.
Yeah. Explain ba natin kung ano meaning ng Coco Crunch?
Nandiyan na lang, ganun, Coco Crunch.
Oo.
Parang saan siya nang galing, ganun. It's a very
True.
common thing with Filipino horror movies. Like Eerie, I watched Eerie and I'm like, oh, it's really good. Then we got to the end, I'm like, what the fuck was that? It's a power of
Tapos,
friendship.
tapos
What's the shonen?
usually with like Filipino horror, ang napansin ko, lagi silang merong ano, parang may mascot monster. Alam mo yun? Alam, yung ganon, yung
Yeah.
corny na mascot monster. Or, it's always the typical white lady na naka-white dress, tapos naka sa dako hair, yung ganon. Laging ganon yung, ano nila, yung take nila sa horror.
Yeah, and they try so hard to have a plot twist. Not everything
Yeah.
can have plot twists.
Honestly, though, like the horror movies are just at this point, yung horror movies ng Filipino films, they're very what do you call that? What's the word? You can kind of anticipate it.
Para naman
It's
nangyayari.
predictable.
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 Yeah, exactly. It's predictable na, so it gets really boring to watch.
Mhm.
And what differentiates Clarita with that is they didn't try hard to have a plot twist. You don't need to have a plot twist.
Yeah.
Here's her story. Here's how they're.
This is what's happening.
Yeah, this is what's happening. This is the story of the priests, why they're doing what they're doing, and this is how they resolve the issue. It's straightforward. Walang Coco Crunch.
Yeah.
Walang cringy power of friendship shit. And there's this satisfaction in the end na Clarita is doing well.
Mhm.
And till the end, the priests are still questioning their fate. They're not blindly following it. Just really nice to see.
They retained their humanity. It's okay to question things. It's okay to doubt things. I like that. I also have something to bring up sa cinematography, pero si Green.
Oh, I was just going to say with the cinematography, what I noticed is how they like shooting the scenes from far away. It gives a very eerie feeling that something's happening or something's going to happen, even though there's nothing and it's just them. But it's a very far away shot, which you don't really see much, and then it's like it's far away, and then they're having a conversation, and it continues to be far away. They don't really zoom in, so you feel like, oh, is something happening. There's like this eerie feeling. Which
it also makes you think. Continue mo lang.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna build up on something.
I was to say, which adds into that feeling of eeriness. So it's those are like that feeling is what's missing in horror movies. Especially in Filipino films, like that eerie feeling. You don't have to have a jump scare to be scary.
Yes.
You just have to have this eerie feeling.
I remember when we were watching, diba, like we have our faces covered most of the time, even though there's no. Yeah. It's just so creepy.
Yeah, it's scary in a sense that you don't know what's happening. It's not predictable, and it's just giving you the mood of a horror film without the jump scares.
Yeah. And then to build upon that, yung wide shots nila, it also makes you feel small. Kasi you see the whole room, you see the whole area. So it makes you feel tiny. Kasi you can see everything. At the same time, it also makes you feel like you're someone peering around the corner. So sumisilip ka lang. So parang ikaw din yung creepy. So parang it adds to that. Na parang nandun ka, sumisilip kang ganyan. Nakikismis ka ganyan. So yun. Tapos, again, yung point ko rin sa cinematography. I really, really like how they do the flashback. It's a really, really smooth transition.
Yeah.
Parang they just turn the camera and then there's a flashback. Na it's really, really smooth. Parang gano'n. Na you can almost like it's almost like you can't really pinpoint when the flashback starts and when it
It's honestly it's honestly making me remember like that type of strategy of transition between two scenes in like a
Mhm.
theater setting,
Yeah.
because you have like blockings is what they
Mm-hmm.
call it. So you have these blockings, and then if you're transitioning to one scene and you don't want to close the curtains or close it, you transition it and you give attention to it into another scene, so it's like
Yeah.
blocking it. So
Yeah.
that's what I felt when I was watching the
Yeah.
transitional scenes.
And it's really, really good. Hindi siya yung parang typical flashback shots wherein fade in, fade out.
Mm.
Tapos, ito na yung flashback, different color grading, meron ng vignette, parang
Mm.
ganon. Different, di ba? Yung minsan ka na yung mga flashbacks na may vignette usually.
It's
Para
very
it
subtle.
still, yeah. Tapos it also gives you this feeling na you're actually reliving the past.
Mm.
Mm.
Kasi there's no like clear cut between now and before.
Mm.
'Di ba? I remember 'di ba nung yun ba yung therapy scene ni ano, ni Clarita? Tapos nag-flashback siya dun sa una siya na check-in tapos in-strap siya sa bed
Mhm.
in like the hospital ward or infirmary nung institution na parang the camera just stand around and then Clarita is in the other side of the room being taken in. Tapos yun pala, it's a flashback.
Mm.
Na, yeah, para it makes you feel like you're reliving the past. That's what
Mm.
it feels like. Kasi especially with like traumatic situations, right? That's how it feels like. It feels like it's real. It
Yeah.
feels like you're reliving it and it's happening again and like you're watching it play right in front of you. That's how
Yeah, you can't
like
really
trauma,
distinguish
yeah,
between the present and the past.
yeah. And like you can distinguish like reality from, memory. So I really, really like that. Kasi like yung buong nangyari kay Clarita in that institution, it's very traumatic for her.
Mm.
So yeah, I like that.
Speaking of the shots, yung she was having this interview with the psychiatrist. Di ba nga,
Mm-hmm.
the camera is very far away. And it's
Yes.
just, they're a small box and you're in the hallway looking at
Mm-hmm.
them. It's just a
Mhm.
still shot.
Mm-hmm.
Tapos, I don't know, it just stood out to me a lot. Kasi, parang, inisip ko, this is such a private conversation. Why am I here?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tapos, yeah, Asian horror films are just nice in general. So, and I think one of the reasons why is that it stems from culture. For us, it's very religious, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
For other Asian countries, they have their own thing. They have their own beliefs,
Yeah.
and when they put that in a horror movie, it's more scary because they believe in that.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah.
Speaking of beliefs, I actually have a point that I wanted to bring up kanina. Kaso, I lost the timing. Because you guys were like, oh, okay. In terms of like the religious beliefs nga, I actually like the fact that they pointed out the inconsistencies of not just Catholics, but like religious people in general, regardless of like your religion.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like Catholics and Christians specifically,
Mm-hmm.
is that the inconsistency of believing in God but not really believing in the devil. It's that fact
Mm.
na, because I used to be a very religious person. Oh, can you believe? I still believe in God though, but I'm like I don't really believe in the church. But anyways, that's not my point.
Yeah.
My point is I used to be a religious person, and I have noticed this, but I didn't really think too much about it. Is that
Mhm.
most of the time people would say, or like you go to church, the pastor, the priest, whatever your religion is, will tell you God is there, blah 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 blah, and then the sins, temptations, devil, Satan, blah 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 blah. Like
Mhm.
they do point out that the devil's there, Satan's watching you, he's trying to like stray you away from God and everything. But like if you really think about it, I can tell you 100% that majority of the religious people don't really think that Satan's real. Like they
Yeah.
know of the existence. Like, okay, there's God and then there's hell. There's heaven and there's hell, there's God, there's Satan. I do think that they know that. It's just that somewhere in their minds they just don't actively believe that Satan's real.
And that there's a possibility for like a demonic entity to like harm.
Yeah, like
Kasi
they
di ba
they
usually,
see the idea na Satan's going to tempt you. He's going to stray you away from
yes,
God and everything. But
yes,
they don't really actively believe that there is a possibility that the devil is just there.
yeah,
Like I can say that I'm one of those people. I do think that there's a devil and shit. But like a part of me don't really think too much about him because he's just there. I don't want to say anything. I'm really scared. But
Like
like,
he's just there, but he's not doing anything to me,
yeah,
at least.
yeah,
Parang ganon.
like that. So like you don't really believe that he exists in a way that God exists. Basically, that's
mm-hmm.
like the inconsistencies in religious people, and I like how they pointed it out in the
Yes,
movie. It's just that if you like I wonder if these people actually believe
Yeah,
in
whenever
the
they
devil.
pray.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
they even if you say God stray us away from evil, blah, 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 even in the Catholic, like the memorized Catholic prayers, you always say that like stay away from evil and everything like
Disclaimer: we're
that.
not Catholics, so we don't really.
I mean,
We
I mean,
forgot the
I'm,
prayers already.
yeah. I mean, I'm Catholic on paper. I am Catholic,
I
but
went
I'm
to a
not religious.
Catholic church, so
Same.
I Catholic school. I mean, I went to a Catholic school for 10 years.
Um, yeah, I do want to bring up something, and dun sa ano, with regards to like believing in Satan, believing in God, ganon. This is just something that I guess it was an interesting thought to me when I heard this idea. Kasi di ba, like when you talk to religious people, usually they would think or they would view Satan as this governing entity in hell, right? That there it's he's like a leader or something. Like he's like the higher power in him. And then I watched Korean Englishman. I know you guys know
Mm-hmm.
that channel. Dun sa channel nila, yung isang channel nila yung Jolly,
Yeah.
and then they have Reverend Chris
Mm-hmm.
there. And
I
I
love
don't remember
Reverend
which
Chris.
video. Yeah, me too. Like again, I'm not religious, but I appreciate his ideology and his humanity
Mm-hmm.
and his humility as well. So I don't remember which video this was, pero it was one of those episodes where they talk about like religion and like belief in Satan, blah blah blah. Tapos he mentioned na Satan is not a governing entity. Oh, I think it was like the Dan Christian memes, one of those episodes. They have like several videos of those. I remember now. Parang there was like a meme na parang it implies na Satan is like a leader in hell or something. Tapos sabi ni Reverend Chris, Satan is not a leader in hell. He's just a fallen angel. The leader of hell is still God. Parang ganun yung sinabi niya. So parang there's no leader in hell because Satan is just one of the people punished or like one of the angels punished for defying God. Parang ganun. So yeah, well, it's just an interesting thought. Kasi totoo naman, like when you talk to religious people, specifically Christian, they always mention Satan as if he's like some kind of governing entity in hell. Na he's the one who's trying to catch you. He's the one who's trying to like drag you to hell. Na siya yung magdidictate parang gano'n kung ano mangyayari sa hell. And Reverend Chris is like, that's not a thing. At least that's what like that's how he interprets heaven and hell. That's not a thing. Satan is not the governing body. It's just someone who fell in hell.
And if
That's
you
it.
really think about it, if he is governing hell, why would God give him that authority?
Exactly. Exactly. If God really is this powerful being, right? The way Christians believe him, how did Satan get this authority,
Mhm.
right? So, oh, I think
Honestly,
the
I
meme. Sorry. Continue ka na. I think the meme was like, parang people are pitting Jesus and Satan like against each other, but like they're besties because they're agreeing on who goes to hell and who goes to parang ganon,
Yeah,
something like that.
that's my
Yeah,
thought.
yeah. Yeah. So like technically they're not enemies; they're fucking besties. Anyway, it's just like the common interpretation ng Christians. Anyway, Brie, next sinasabi mo.
oh, I was just gonna say, honestly, I believe that God let Satan fall. I,
Mm-hmm.
it's
That's a hot take.
it's a bit controversial,
Wait, what?
but
Explain. Medyo, hindi ko na-get. Hindi siya nagpa-process sa utak ko. Paki-explain.
I believe that God let Satan fall so
Mm-hmm.
people have that choice of going to God instead. Like that whole there's temptation, but if you choose God, you will be saved kind of thing. So like if he didn't let Satan fall, I'm trying so hard to like look forward.
Ano
It's
yan?
a bit
It's okay.
scary, but like to all my religious people, I'm one of you. Do not cancel me. But like I do believe that he let Satan fall so people can see that this is bad and he is
Parang he
good.
used Lucifer as a lesson. Is
Parang
that it?
he's
Or
Parang
an
he
example.
created an existence of darkness so you can see the light. Parang ganon.
yeah, cause
Oh,
cause like if you think about it,
yeah.
according to religion,
the, the tremble in your voice.
according to religion, it's a bit of a sore topic. It's like this is the first time I'm actually saying my thoughts out loud,
Yeah.
especially coming from a religious family and being an ex-religious church person.
Mm-hmm.
I have been thinking about this even when I was going to church. I just didn't want to say it out loud because
Yeah.
people might
Yeah.
like get mad and shit. But like
Yeah.
according to religion, everything is according to God's plan.
Mm-hmm.
He created the world according to his plan.
Mm-hmm.
So why did he have an angel fall and be
Or
in the
why
bad
did he let
side
it happen? I think I get what you're saying.
if it's according to his plan? Why did
Yeah.
he let Adam and Eve eat that apple? Why the fuck does he have a fucking apple? Oh, we're talking about God. Why does he have an apple in the garden where where it's supposed to be paradise? If he
Why
didn't
did
want them
he
to,
yeah, why did he have this one thing that could taint them if it's supposed to be a perfect paradise for
why did he have that apple if he didn't want them to eat it?
them? Yeah.
Basically, so I
I
do
think
think,
I'm just
yeah,
I'm just gonna say like a possible counter ng ibang religious people about that. It
yeah,
means not again, I'm not religious. I do
yeah,
believe in higher power.
yeah,
I do believe in a higher power, just not, in religion.
yeah,
But I think people would say that God is testing them. Na he wants to see if the humans he created would choose him. Kasi di ba you
but
were talking about choice. Yun
but
lang yung naiisip kong
why
possible argument.
but why would you say that it's according to his plan then? It's not according to
Mm.
his plan. If you're testing someone,
I
then you wouldn't know. You have a 50-50 with that. It's
yeah,
either they eat it or they
that's
don't eat it.
that's actually I saw a tweet years ago. This was like a few
Yeah.
years ago talking about that. Where if God is all knowing and he knows his people would choose him, why have hell? Why do people deviate from that?
That's
Parang ganon. Yeah.
that's
So
that's my whole
yeah,
point is
yeah,
I
yeah. I get
firmly
it. I get it.
believe that he had his morning star fall. So
Mm-hmm.
he can show. I have nothing against God. I'm not saying he's like
Yeah.
this petty person or something, but I do believe that he made it so people would see that his side is good. Because if you
Yeah.
don't have that counter, like if you don't have evil, if you don't have this darkness,
Yeah.
then how can you say that you're the right choice? How can you say na what I am is the better or like the good option?
I think it's
If there is,
testing the waters of free will. What you're saying,
yeah,
I
so
think,
we're going into
and
he
free
it,
will.
yeah, he did give humans free will. That's like one of the gifts that he gave then naman. So,
mm-hmm.
oh wait, well, yeah, he gave it to humans, but not to angels. That's why Lucifer was mad. But like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go into that
Yeah.
story.
I think,
But
yeah,
yeah,
I would just wanna go back to that tweet. I think yung sinasabi ng tweet na yun, if I'm remembering things correctly, na if he's all knowing, like would know, like then that means he should know that everyone would choose him. But because humans deviate, right? That means he doesn't know everything. And then parang may sinabi din siya na if God is the one sending people to hell, if God is the one deciding to bring people to hell or bad people, quote unquote bad people to hell, then that means he's not all loving. If he is all loving, he will not let his creation go to hell. Parang ganun yung pinapoint out niya, like yung parang inconsistencies with
yeah.
how people interpret God and heaven and hell.
I still firmly
Yeah.
believe that God is whoever you think he is,
Hmm.
personally. Because, like, he, it's not that we are made in his image, it's that his image changes depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
So,
I've brought this up multiple times before. I don't remember kung I think I bring up ko na to in like a previous, in like a different episode. Kung na-post na siya, again, I don't know if ano mauuna, pero this was like last year, I think. Remember yung tula, yung
yeah,
poem,
yeah.
right? Yung Your God. That's also
Mm.
like the main point of that. Na you say the people, na parang believers or like religious people say na humans are created in the image of God. But then humans turn around and create God in their image. They create the image of God according to how they believe God to be. And so they're now morphing what God represents. They're now changing who God is because it's according to their own ideology and their own bias. So then who is God? Diba?
God, that's what I believe in. God changes on what whoever you talk to,
Yeah,
basically.
me too. Honestly, me too. Like I also believe na God will be whoever you think he will be. It's just it's unfortunate that there are some people who morph God into this. And
Honestly, the simple route. I think God is just vibing upstairs. He's just
me
vibing upstairs. He
too.
lets
Yeah, that's
I feel
true.
like he's just letting his son do all the work.
Yeah,
To be honest, I think I genuinely believe he's just there vibing, watching over the humans. Oh, look at
yeah.
him. Look at this idiot. He did a sin again. Oh, he's going to hell for sure. Bye-bye. Kind of like that. He's just vibing upstairs. And then Jesus just like overtime working, you know? I think that.
I think you guys will
Honestly,
like Lucifer, yung series.
Oh yeah,
It's
oh, I've
actually
never
really
seen
good.
that.
It's really good.
Okay.
I
it's a
would
funny one.
recommend it,
Yung
but
ba
it's
yung
too long.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, wait. Yun ba yung ano, yung series na yung may nagtagalog,
Uh-uh.
yung broken
Yeah.
Tagalog?
That's him.
Wait,
That's
That's it.
Lucifer
That's
himself.
Lucifer Morningstar.
Yeah.
eto to. May isa pa ako na. Parang, to me, like, just in terms of like belief, right? Since we're talking about like how we believe God. For me, personally, again, I'm not religious, but I do believe in a higher being. I think, nakalimutan ko na yung point ko. Yun is the
For
beast ko.
me, You guys know I'm agnostic, right? Don't tell my parents. I'm Christian.
Yeah.
Don't tell my parents. um,
Sige, ikaw muna. Mag-isip yung akin.
this is going to probably piss off people, but I think that we're just passion projects, and then he dipped like bye.
Actually, isn't
So
that, I think that deism, I believe that,
agnostic.
I think it's, no, you like, yung, like, God created us and then he dipped.
Yeah, agnostic.
Oh, I think it's, no, wait, really?
We kind of like
Deviate.
deviated, but I actually have one more point in Clarita.
Oh yeah,
Specific.
theism. It is.
Agnostic basically is believing in a God but not knowing. Because Gnostic means knowledge. So when you add the prefix "a," it means no knowledge. So you have no knowledge that God exists, but you can believe it. That's why merong agnostic theists, or people who believe in a God but can't prove it, and people who are agnostic atheists who do not believe in a God but cannot prove it. Parang ganun. Yun yung ano niya. So yung sinasabi ko is deism, related siya sa deism, pero specifically pandeism, wherein people will believe that God created the world and everything in it and then abandoned it. Yun yung sinasabi mo. It's pandeism
That's
or
what
deism.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeepney Creepers. Hello, welcome to another segment of Jeepney Creepers. This is LILA, and I am going to tell you about this creepy thing that happened to me when I was in college. There's nothing like very exciting happening in here. I would say it was quite boring, but it was still creepy. So, this happened when I was in college and I was a first year student. Yung school na pinupuntahan ko nun, it was already built a few decades before World War II happened. So I don't know how much that narrows down to, but I will not confirm anything. If you know, then you know. If you don't, then you don't. So basically, it was a Saturday, and I went to school to attend an org meeting kasi I was part of this literary org back then. Yung meeting venue, nandun siya sa building na I don't really go to kasi ibang college yung gumagamit ng building na yon. So, I was very lost kasi hindi ako familiar dun sa layout ng building. So, I just entered the first elevator that I saw to go to the floor that I needed to go to. And the moment I stepped out of it, I immediately felt very heavy. Parang depressed. Tapos I couldn't breathe. At that point, I knew I was mentally ill. So, like a normal person would, I ignored it. And when I looked up, after stepping out of the elevator, I was directly in front of the entrance doors of this infamous chapel in the campus. This chapel was quite well known. It's when you enter that school, when you first enroll in that school, and on the first day, that will probably be the very first story you will hear about.
It's that famous.
Yeah, it is that famous. I'm not sure how well known it is to people outside of this school, but to people who were enrolled in that school, they know this the story. So basically, I'm not gonna go into too many details, not to be too specific, pero it was a refuge during World War II. And yung mga horror stories na narinig ko about that chapel was people seeing beheaded priests and soldiers. So parang yun yung story sa kanya. And I didn't see them. Fortunately, wag yun ang hilingin na sana nakita ko.
Sayang naman.
Mas exciting sana.
Sayang.
Ayoko nga. Pero, so yeah, so I realized na I was in that specific chapel and I was immediately freaked out. So I immediately walked away. I'm like, just ignore it. Just ignore it. Don't pay attention to it. You're just depressed. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. There's nothing creepy about this place. Just ignore it. So I kept walking and walking, looking for the room that I had to go to for the meeting. And the moment I was out of line of sight of the chapel, I immediately felt relief. Like I felt so much lighter and that I could breathe. So wala lang. It's just very creepy, and I am so glad I did not see a beheaded priest that day because I would have lost my mind. I was already mentally ill. I do not need another thing.
Should have done it for the
So yeah,
content.
that was my fuck you.
Sayang.
What the Okay, let me travel back in time and tell
Yeah.
Lila of the past, who was like 16 years old at that time, from 10 years ago. Anyway, that was my story. Yeah, I do not like it.
Jeepney Creepers.
Meron pa akong point, nakalimutan ko na po.
Sige, abang iniisip mo, Brie.
This is in Clarita though, but like I think maybe the mom. I know that we kind of pointed out that maybe the mom, because she was like doing all this like
Witchcraft.
stuff, yeah, witchcraft, and she didn't really know how to handle it. So like all these spirits came out and stuff. Like there's a possibility of that. I actually think that the mom was protecting Clarita in a way.
Mm.
Because the demons only started possessing
When
her
she
when she
died.
died. Yeah. So
That's
I
true.
actually believe that the mom was trying to protect Clarita in some way. Like because she knows that Clarita is like more powerful than she is. Clarita pointed that out, right? That she's like better
Yeah, she's better
um
than her mom.
than her mom. But I think in a way her mom knew that something would happen to Clarita, so she
So
was
she acted like a shield. So that, I guess
yeah.
that's why she got like very affected by the evil spirits, because she's the one like siya yung sumasalo.
Mm. I
Parang
think
yes.
because
Yeah, that
because
makes sense.
yeah, I don't think it was a coincidence that the moment her mom died, that's when the
Yeah,
spirits became more powerful and then possessed her.
yeah.
So that was just like something that I noticed
Or
with or
psychological standpoint,
yeah.
traumatic incident,
That's true. That could also be one.
and it started
Okay.
manifesting.
Yeah, and
Naalala ko na.
especially since she was alone as well, like she doesn't have anybody, so it could have like led to her breaking point.
And
No?
she was raised that way as well, like not religious, like believing in witchcraft.
And then and they're isolated as well. So
I also want to bring up something about that. Pero ito, naalala ko na yung gusto kong sabihin kanina. In terms of belief, right? Yung personal beliefs and like how we morph God into our own image. A lot of like religious people, especially yung mga bigoted ones, they believe that if you're gay, you're going to hell. If you do this, you're going to hell. If you do that, you're going to hell, right? To me, I don't think God is that bad. I don't think God will look at your genitalia and say you're going to hell. But like, I don't think God will focus on what touches your vagina and say, okay, since another vagina touched it, you're going to hell. I don't think God will do that. I don't think God is that shallow. And so
honestly,
to me,
a lot of the times, because like religious people forget that from the Bible, God specifically said, "Do not judge your neighbors."
yes, yes.
So,
And
some people just pick and choose. But
Yeah.
also it was stated in the Bible that self-righteousness is a sin.
Yeah. So
And a lot of people are so self-righteous, not just because I believe in a God, I'm automatically gonna go to heaven. Like I know so many people.
yeah.
we
With
know
that belief.
so many people.
Yeah.
Our
Mm.
listeners probably know so many people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So again, this is not shitting on God as a whole. Again, we have our own way of believing in a God. It's just that we do not agree with organized religion and how God is presented in organized religion. But yeah, yung point ko is, I don't believe God is gonna be that petty, where He's gonna look at these small mortal things and say, because of this thing, you're going to hell. I believe the ones who are gonna go to hell are the ones who has lost their humanity.
Mm.
People who neglect human life, people who neglect the right to live, people's right to live,
Mm.
right? I think, or like people who use His name to condemn,
Mm.
I think those are the ones who are candidates for hell. Mga may
Yeah.
PhD, mga PhD candidates to
Yeah.
hell. Yun yung paniniwala ko. Like, if you've lost your touch in humanity, then you're not gonna be saved. Yun yung belief ko.
Honestly, though, like organized, just to jump into what you said a while ago,
Mm-hmm.
organized groups for religion ruined the image of
Yeah.
God. It's not anybody else but them who ruined the image of God.
Multo ka na nga lang, tanga ka pa.
Di ba yung point nung Clarita film is because of witchcraft na demonyo sila and God will save them. Parang ganun. I just don't like that idea. Originally, we participate in Anito. In the Anito, we participate in witchcraft.
We're
We
polytheistic.
participate, yeah, we're polytheistic. We participate in like spiritual healing. Basically, anything and everything that is commonly related to witchcraft and stuff. Like pre-colonial Philippines participated in that. And so I don't really like how that demonizes witchcraft because technically, if you really think about it, that is the origin of the Filipinos. Na people only started demonizing our cultural practices because the colonizers came and they forced their religion on us. Ganun. So, yun lang yung issue ko. And I'm not sure if that's like the intent of the film. I'm not sure if like the biggest reason that they have for portraying it that way is to demonize witchcraft as a whole.
I
I
think
have
it
no idea.
mostly is rooted with the fact that it is coming from a religious standpoint.
Probably, yeah, probably. That's why they did it that way. So, yun lang. Parang, I feel like it's just solidifying the ideology na witchcraft is 100% satanic.
Mhm.
When I don't think it is. I don't believe that it is. Okay, naalala niyo ba yung statement ni yung older father yata to? Yung sabi niya na ang paghihirap na nararamdaman natin ay isang pagsubok ng mula sa kanya, pinaparamdam niya
Yeah.
sa atin ang paghihirap para maramdaman natin na kailangan natin siya. And I'm like, that's so manipulative. Like, if you think about it, if you translate that into human relationships, that's really fucking abusive.
Mm.
Di ba? Now you're creating this toxic environment just to make your partner feel like they need you. Like, would you agree that that's like if you translate it into like a romantic
Yeah.
relationship, that's really abusive?
Mm.
So I did not like that idea. I did not like that it's romanticizing that kind of
I've heard
ideology.
that statement a lot of times that I'm desensitized.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
yeah, me too. Like even in church, even like with like how okay, I'm gonna get into parenting na. Like even with how people parent their children, sometimes I've heard this multiple times from like grade school teachers and even like the priest kapag nag-church pa ako before. Sinasabi nila na kaya ka sinasaktan ng magulang mo kasi mahal ka niya. Kasi gusto ka nilang matuto or something. It's kind of reminiscent of this statement na kaya ka nasaktan is because God intended for you to get hurt. So you would
Mm.
feel like you need Him. Tapos, di ba, nakita ko rin to sa like, it's like a common criticism din na pag sinasabi ng tao na God intended for you to suffer. Parang gano'n. Like God has a plan or like God is preparing something good for you. You're essentially saying na people deserve to get hurt, which I think is really shitty. So yeah, I just didn't like that statement. Kasi if you really translate it into human relationships, it's very abusive if you think about it. So like, why is it glorified in a religious way?
Mm.
Tapos yung next statement na tumatak sa akin is yung pinoint out nila yung empty prayers. Yung dasal ka ng dasal, naniniwala ka pa ba sa sinasabi?
Mm.
I think, who said that? I think it was also
It's
the,
Clarita
well,
during the exorcism.
oh,
Mm.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, yung sinabi niya kay father mo o kay dun sa bata? Yung mas
Sa
bata
Older.
or
father.
older. Yeah.
Doon nag-start yung breakdown ni father.
Oh yeah. Kasi it's true naman, like dasal ka ng dasal, naniniwala ka pa ba? It's almost like it's become automatic na.
Mm.
Parang sinulat ko dito na it feels like they're just on autopilot when they're praying and they're not really processing anything. Na parang it was just a habit. They're not really taking it to heart anymore.
That's what I don't like about Catholic prayers.
Yeah, I do agree. Na parang dahil sa nakasanayan mo na lang, eh, akala mo you're still understanding it when you're not anymore.
You're not
Again,
praying anymore, you're just
yeah,
saying.
you're just reciting
Mm.
something you've memorized. And again, another hot take. I feel like organized religion is very similar in like how they work with cults.
Yeah.
Diba? We're in the same practices. I mean, at least like Catholic. Again, I can say this because I'm Catholic. I've gone to like Catholic church. Like, yun yung religion ko. So, yeah, like, I feel like organized religion is like very cultish kasi they're doing the same prayer and they're making like offerings, right? They're singing the same songs again and again. And it's like, I don't know, it feels like you're not thinking anymore because you're like reciting the same shit over and over and over and over. So like, are you really even understanding what you're praying?
Mm.
And I'm not gonna tell the story anymore, pero na bring up din to ni I think si Kay during the watching period. That's why scripted prayers can be useless to demons kasi they get used to it.
Mm.
Just remember yung horror story ko with my
Mm.
friend, yun.
I don't
Yeah.
I'm
like
not
it. Please
gonna
don't repeat that. It gives
yeah,
me
I'm not gonna
goosebumps.
I'm not gonna repeat it, pero yeah, I'm probably gonna I have that as one of my transitions. So to our listeners, the story might pop up in one of the transitions in other episodes,
Mm-hmm.
or if
Just
it
wait
already
for
has
that.
hulaan nyo. Yeah, or if it already has appeared in an episode
We can
like
put it here.
before this one. Oh yeah, we can also insert it. But yeah, parang mas maganda kung may treasure hunt. Hulaan nyo kung ano. Hulaan nyo, hanapin nyo.
Listen to
Ano
everything.
yung story. That means you need to listen to every episode. So, you need to go back to episode 1. Hanapin nyo, mag-treasure hunt tayo. Sige, hanapin nyo yung horror story related to that. Yung
Walang
prayer,
premyo.
yung
We're not rich.
walang premyo. Bragging rights lang. Yung related dun sa scripted prayers. Tapos masasanay yung mga evil spirits. So yeah, hulaan nyo kung anong episode yun. Pero it's one of my transitions. So, yeah. Mag-treasure hunt tayo.
Though
Tapos sabihin nyo sa social media.
I will say, memorize prayers. Convenient.
It is convenient.
Lalo kapag pinapag-pray
Takot ka.
ka before kumain. Prayer ko
Oh,
nga.
that's
Bless
Oh,
us, O
that's-
Lord, for these things.
Tsaka yung kapag kinikilabutan ka, parang may pag hindi na gumagana utak mo, hindi mo na yung memorize prayer mo. But yeah, yun. I even though like yung Clarita is like centered on religion and stuff, I still like how real it is in terms of you being critical to beliefs.
Yeah, they question their religion.
Yes, it's not just like, oh, religion is like 100% good. It wasn't presented that way. It showed the religion can still be fallible.
It has
And like,
flaws.
yes, and yeah, and the religious leaders are flawed humans still. So I like that about Clarita. I really, really appreciate it. Kaya, ang taas na rating ko dito eh. Mataas rating dito sa Clarita. Yeah, I think that's it for me.
Speed bumps.
Hello and welcome to Speed Bumps. I will be telling you about this 3 a.m. nightmare that I had back in college. So basically, my sister in law went through surgery, and my brother is busy with work. So he asked me to take care of my sister in law. And since it was semestral break, nag-agree naman ako. I was staying in their house. It was a new house. It hasn't been blessed. They just lived in it. Tapos I was staying in the same room, pero yung divider lang nila is yung cabinets. I think it was my second or third night in their house. And I had this nightmare. So yung panaginip na yon, I was walking with a friend and sa sidewalk may matanda daw na babae na umiiyak. And since ako matulungin akong tao, Mabait ako. Ay,
Mabait nga ba?
mabait ako.
We,
Dapat
talaga
din
ba?
tayo masyadong mabait. Ayun, tinapik ko daw yung old lady, tas sabi ko, "Okey lang po ba kayo?" And then she turned to me and I noticed she had no eyes. Like it's just black holes. And then she attacked me. Ta's nagising ako syempre. And whenever I wake up, I always check my phone. And it's 3 a.m. on the dot. I was like, what the fuck
Shit.
was that? And then, sabi ko, hindi na ako makatulog. Eh, medyo mahina yung internet nila sa bahay. So I was just like waiting for my YouTube videos to load because I'm too scared to sleep. And then, na-notice ko may light coming from the other side of the room. Pero hindi ko kita kung yung sister-in-law ko yun. Kasi may barrier? Wow, barrier. Yung divider namin is yung cabinets nga nila. And then I heard her after a while. She kept saying, "Mama, mama." Sabi ko, okay, gising siya. And then I eventually fell asleep at 5 a.m., 5 or 6, when the sun was coming up because I was that scared. And then I woke up lunchtime na. When I went down, my sister-in-law was like, "I didn't wanna wake you kasi mukhang puyat ka." Sabi ko, "Ate, hindi ako nakatulog." Sabi niya, "Bakit?" Sabi ko, "Nanaginip ako," sabi ko sa kanya. Tapos sabi niya, "Anong panaginip mo?" Eh, di kinuwento ko naman. Sabi ko, may old lady sa dream ko na inattack ako. Tapos na-notice ko medyo nag-iba expression ng sister-in-law ko. Tapos sabi niya sa'kin, "Matanda? Nakaputi?" Sabi ko, "Oo." "Mahaba buhok?" Sabi ko, "Oo." "Walang mata?" Tapos sabi ko, "Oo." Tas we hugged each other and she was like, "Ako din." Sabi ko, "Hala." Tapos sabi ko sa kanya, "Ate, na-bless na ba 'tong bahay niyo?" Sabi niya, "Hindi pa." So, what we did, I grabbed salt, and my sister-in-law has holy water at her home for some reason.
What
And
the?
we went upstairs and blessed the whole house ourselves. And
Oh
the
my
funny thing
god.
is, we didn't tell our brother till really late at night kasi pinagpahinga muna namin siya. And then my brother asked for me and then he said, "Do you wanna go home?" Sabi ko, hindi ko alam." Tapos sabi niya, "Kung gusto mo, ihatid na kita. Pero bukas na ng umaga." So I spent another night there and I didn't fall asleep. And right
Oh
before we
no.
went, palis na kami, sabi ko, sa bahay, nasa second floor ako, sa kwarto. Sabi ko, "Bye, bitch!" And then the lights flickered.
What the fuck?
So I ran down, and then when we got home, I told my mom what happened, and my mom was like, "Oh no, sinusundo ka na." Napakabait talaga ng nanay ko.
Gago.
Bitch ka pa, ah.
Bitch daw ah.
So yeah, make sure your house is blessed before you invite guests over.
Regardless if you believe in religion or not, pabless ka na
Yeah.
lang just to be safe.
Yeah. That was my 3 a.m. nightmare.
Oh my god.
Speed bumps.
Speaking of rating, ikaw yung unang magre-rate.
Ay, ako ba? Okay. Okay, so for the rating, for the plot, I gave it a 2.4 out of 3.
Hmm.
I'm not an expert on horror films, and I haven't watched a lot. It's just that compared to the ones that I have seen, I think Clarita is number one right now. But I can't give it like a perfect score because there's a possibility na meron pang mas maganda. Like I don't know, I don't have the heart to give it a perfect score. But plot wise, it's good. Also, another thing that's why it's like not perfect is it's the usual based on a true story. That's very common in like horror films. Yung based on a true story. Like, can you just creep us out without saying that? Like scare us without like saying that it's based on a true story. I don't know. And then execution, I gave it a 2.7 out of 3. I think they did a good job. We talked about the cinematography. We talked about the acting. We talked about, I guess, the commentary, the social commentary about religion and the criticisms that are presented in the film. I think it was like executed very. It is so good. It's so good. But why did I not give it a perfect score?
Pwede mo i-change.
Kasi if we're gonna look at my raw score, I gave it a 9 out of 10, and then in percentage form, it's 27% out of 30%. So
Hi.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's still high. It's just 1 point down. But yeah, I don't know. I just again, I don't think I can give it like a perfect score yet because there might be something better. And considering I haven't seen all of the movies, I want to give room to that. But in my heart and in my soul, whatever's left of it, and I think it's like perfect. I think it's good. But objectively, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. And then for the cinematography, I gave it a perfect score because the way they filmed it, again, we talked about the wide shots and the transitions and color grading and all of that stuff. It's very perfectly eerie without doing too much, and I like that. Acting also perfect. I think every single character and every single actor in the film did a really really good job acting. I can't really think of anyone lacking. I guess apart from the
Are,
extras.
are you
The
sure?
journalist.
Are you sure?
Oh, I forgot about the journalist.
She's a very
I
forgettable
guess
character. If she didn't have a
he is.
backstory, we would have forgotten
Yeah.
about her.
Yeah. Honestly,
Jodie Santa Maria
yeah.
carried.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the
The
older
other,
priest.
yeah, the older priests.
I
Even
guess
the extra,
um
Buen Camino is really nice.
yeah, even though he has like a minor role,
Mm-hmm.
he did really good. But okay, I still want to give it like a 10 out of 10 for me cuz it's like the whole story and like the acting just tied really well together. It's not like with The House of Us where sobrang glaring
Difference.
nung
Mm.
bad acting nung ibang characters. Like it's like shouting at you how bad they are at acting. With here, it's almost negligible and like it's just tied really well. I guess what I want to say is with a journalist, tama si Kay na kung wala siyang backstory, she's
Forgettable.
unimportant
Yeah.
and
Mm.
she's very forgettable. I wish the actress or at least the character itself, because for all we know, it could be just the way the character was written. But I wish that character did more, and I wish the acting was. I wish there was more to the acting because she just translated as someone annoying. To be honest, like I don't wanna discredit the trauma because that's a really really heavy trauma. That's a lot. That's like a big thing in her backstory. But the way her character was executed was very poor, in my opinion. But I'm still gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because it's not really jumping at yung pagiging lacking niya. And then the soundtrack, I gave it 0.45 out of point 0.5. So that's like 4.5, 9 out of 10 in raw score. I think it's good. They're not doing too much with the sounds. It's silent in the perfect places. The sound effects that they did was really good. The song that they chose, yung old song, I don't
Sa
remember what
dulo.
song it was, but like, yung nasa dulo, yung super creepy na old song, like 1950s song. I think it's really, really good. I feel like older songs just have an eerie vibe to them because the singers are dead. The singers
So,
and the composers are dead. So like,
are you sure? Some people might be alive. You don't know that.
that's true. But like but like old things just have this eerie vibe to them most of the time because they're like old and like the
They're
era
older
that they
than
were
you.
in. Yeah, and like they could be dead for all you know, and then put them in a horror story where people die. Just it amplifies that feeling. So I think yeah, the sounds. It's not really a film where there's a lot of like soundtracks, you know. So I guess I'm just talking about like how they utilized audio and like the auditory experience that they give. So yeah, I gave it like a 9 out of 10. So all in all, it's a 90.5%.
Okay, so mine. I'm just gonna say, a lot of my reasoning, sinabi na ni Lila. Kanina pa ako nag-iisip ng other things to say in like
This is
okay.
the second time this happens. So like,
Kanina
do
pa
we have the
sabi
same
ko,
brain?
okay, next na ako. Ano pong
Nagsisync
pwede
tayong
kong,
brain cell.
Uh,
ano pa bang pwede kong
we share one
i-add
brain.
dito sa reasoning ko? Anyways, for the plot, I gave it a 2.4.
Oh, it's the same for me.
Yeah, as mentioned from Lila, hindi ko na uulitin yung sinabi niya, pero we have the same reasoning. Execution, I gave it a 2.4. I did like the execution. I guess I'm a bit biased then kasi I didn't really watch the whole film in its entirety to appreciate it.
Do you have
I
your
did
eyes covered?
I did watch it. I just have it covered in like the scary scenes, so I can't really appreciate it much. But so like if it's a horror film, you best believe I'm not gonna give it a perfect score for execution because I cannot watch a fucking execution. But it is good. It ties up with the cinematography, which I gave a 1.8 out of 20. We talked about the cinematography. Everything that Tila said a while ago was really was awesome. The same thought process that I have. It's really good, especially for a Filipino horror film. The acting, I gave it a 1.35. Is it 35? I can't read my fucking handwriting. I think this is
It's probably
1.35.
1.35.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Is it
1.35.
9 out of 10?
Yeah.
Yes.
As mentioned, all the actors were really good. Jodie Santa Maria specifically, she fucking carried that movie. I did subtract it because of the journalist. Actually,
Yeah.
that's the reason why I have
I
it.
genuinely forgot about the journalist. I guess that's why I gave it a 10. Kasi hindi ko siya naalala.
I don't feel any emotions from her at all. She's talking
Yeah.
about her traumatic experience. I
Yeah.
cannot for
Wait,
this
who's the
life of
actress again?
Jasmine Jasmine Curtis.
No. Jasmine Curtis is I'm Drunk, I Love You.
Yeah, I'm drunk, I love
Oh.
you.
I think
Wait,
she's a
Oh
new
Clarita.
yeah, she's
actress.
she's the I also didn't like Jasmine's acting in I'm Drunk, that's why I mentioned her. So she kind of like ano siya sa utak ko. Anyway, so I didn't really like. I swear she was talking about the traumatic. So I cannot feel any emotion. So during the time that scene was happening, I felt like I was very unsympathetic with what's happening.
Yeah. It's
I
Alisa
was
Mulak. Her
oh
name is Alisa Mulak. So she's
sorry.
a Mulak person.
I'm so sorry,
Nepo.
my dude, but
Yeah, Nepo baby.
like during that scene, I genuinely cannot connect at all. I was
Yeah,
like,
me too. Me too.
okay, I'm sorry that that happened to you, but I cannot feel that you actually experienced that thing, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the actor. I just didn't like your acting. Soundtrack, I gave it a 0.45 as well. I think they did a good job with the sounds and the score for that for the movie.
Yeah.
Overall, it's actually lower. I gave it an 84%. I'm satisfied with that. I think it actually correlates with my personal scoring. So,
So for me, the plot, I gave it 26% out of 30 or 2.6. As I said earlier, it's a very straightforward plot. It's exorcism. I feel like a lot of exorcism movies have the same plot.
yeah.
Where they exercise like two, three
Possessed.
times. That's it.
Yeah.
And then they find out there's a lot of demons inside her. Like, have you watched
Like,
other exorcism
surprise!
movies? That's what it looks like. Execution, I gave it 28% out of 30 or 2.8. They did really well despite the very simple plot that they have.
Yeah.
Again, no unnecessary plot twists, which is I very much appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Cinematography, I gave it 1.7 out of 20. The reason why, actually dapat perfecto, pero the reason
Mm-hmm.
why I subtracted 0.3% is because of the CG demon. We're not going like this. Kung wala lang yun, I would have given this a perfect score. But I can't get
Honestly,
it
yeah,
out of my head.
The CG is pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, it's still a
It's very
Filipino
corny.
horror film, so it
Yeah.
has to have some elements of a Filipino
Um,
horror film.
Honestly, yun yung reason bakit hindi ako natakot. Kasi yung demon mo, mukhang meme demon, alam mo yun? Yung way pa nung walking niya, it's like yung walking sa
oh.
America's Next Top Model, yung I'm back. Anyways,
Gago.
for the acting, I gave it a perfect score. As Lila said, negligible naman yung acting ng journalist for me. I didn't really care much about her character. So yeah.
Yeah.
Soundtrack, I gave it a 4% out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Again, really good use of audio. The silence was very loud. Kaya kaya ganun yung binigay ko score.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very good.
So overall, it's 9 or 90%.
Oh, very similar.
Yeah. Okay, so the average score that we have for Clarita is 88.2. Pretty good for like a Filipino film. Honestly, I would rate Filipino horror films much lower. So
Yeah.
this is really good. And yeah,
That's true.
so thank you for listening.
Side.
Cact.
Thank you for joining us. Let us all pray. Amen.
Amen.
We didn't say amen. Lila.
Isa pa. Take two.
Take 2. Thank you for watching. Let us all pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.